Crystal Thompson here for Pink and May. Today we are creating with one of the newest releases from Pink and May. Today we're using Happy Hour. And let me tell you about the stamps. It is absolutely gorgeous. All the illustrations I have pre-stamped, then die cut with my coordinating Happy Hour dies. I stamped it with a brown brown ink, and then I watercolored over it. This is going to be a super easy card. You're also going to be needing 2 pieces of cardstock. So I have my card base and my card panel, and that is a watercolor paper, and that is from Hobby Lobby. And then you're going to need a couple supplies for watercoloring. I'm going to be using my watercolor tray along with my watercolor brush. And for our watercolors, we're going to be using Tailored Expressions, Lemon Meringue, and Pea Pod, and these are just liquid watercolors. You can use whatever you like. So let's get started. All right, guys, so I have set up my watercolor cardstock on my misty. And the reason why is that this has a lot of texture, and I don't want to have a mistake when I stamp my sentiment. So we're going to stamp the sentiment. I'm using When Life Hands You Lemons, Add Vodka, and Call a Friend. This is a great uplifting sentiment. So I have my stamp ready to go. I'm going to be using Midnight. This is an archival dye ink. So archival dye inks are actually waterproof, so this is why I'm using it. And this is going to allow me some time to dry, and it gives me a basis on where not to go too far. So as you can see, I'm going to have to repeat this several times because of the texture of the watercolor paper. I'm going to do one more. All right, I'm pretty happy with this, so we're going to move on to doing our watercoloring. All right, friends, so our archival dye ink has dried up, and I've added my 2 drops of the green and the yellow. I've added some water. I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to come in and grab some of that color, and all we're going to do is just do a simple wash of that yellow. And we're going to bring it all the way down. And we really want to make this a very nice, happy card. We're going to do several washes of this watercolor. So we're going to set this, we're going to give it a couple minutes to dry, and then come in and we're going to add a wash of green. All right, guys, that first wash of yellow has dried up. Let me bring it up to the camera so you can see how pretty that ended up, and you can see the different levels of the watercolor. I'm going to place this back down. I have added a bit of water to my pea pod, and again, you can use liquid watercolors, you can use those palette, you can use ink. If you don't have any watercolors, you just put the color on your lid and grab it, but it has to be a dye ink in order to, a dye ink in order to be able to do that. So I've added a second wash of green. We're going to let that sit for a couple minutes, let it dry, and then we'll come back to do a whole nother set again. All right, guys, so now it's dry. We're going to add another wash. We have more of our yellow. I'm going to add some more water, and then we're just going to dab. I really suggest using a larger brush when doing something like this, and the reason why it's just going to go a lot faster and you won't have streaks from the brush. Okay, I've added some of that yellow. Going to give it a couple minutes. We're going to grab some of this green, and we're just going to dab it over. Because it's still wet, it's going to really spread out. See? And if you find that it's too dark, just add more water. This is why we're using watercolor paper as opposed to just our normal cardstock, because you can really layer on these colors. Okay, while that dries, I have some green on my brush, and I'm just going to flicker. And I don't want to add too many. I'm going to clean off my brush. I have more concentrated yellow on this side. So I'm going to flicker with that concentrated yellow and add more on it on the edge. Okay. Let that sit for a couple minutes, and we're going to come back with our little happy hour drinks. All right, guys, it is nice and dry, and we can start assembling our card. I have my card base. I'm going to place this down. I have some adhesive already placed on the back of this, and we're going to center it. That way it looks very nice and clean. Once that's centered, we're going to come in, and I have already placed foam adhesive on the back of my little images. So we're just gonna stagger these all over the place. And really, I'm gonna do the top two first, and then that way I can fit these guys. You know what, I'm gonna change out the mug next to the long glass, and then I'll put the long glass right under the margarita one. And look how fun that is. We are gonna finish up with some embellishing with Nouveau drops, and this is the glitter, I believe. This is White Blizzard. You have some of the yellow glitter drops, that would be really pretty. So while I do this, I do want to encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel where there's a lot more tutorials. Be sure to click like so other people can see this video, and please leave a comment. And if you end up making something that is inspired by this video, be sure to tag us on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have an amazing